Alright, so in the shop today, we got a new change of pace. 2014 ZX14R, bad transmission. So, owner already started pulling it apart and he stopped. So, tank, fairings, some of that's missing, gone. Got to finish tearing into this and get this engine out. Engine transmission case assembly out of the frame, throw it on the bench, and inside this box, this is what I've been waiting on. This here is a good used transmission. So got our forks, shifter tube, input output shaft, ready to rock and roll. Almost brand new. So that's on the agenda today. I'm gonna try and get this motor ripped out. Again, throw it on the bench. Bear with me here, this is new audio. I got a mic, so let me know how it sounds, what you guys think. But yeah, let's tear into it and rip it out. All right, there we go. Motor is out. Now it's time to get this thing on the bench. Not sure what it weighs, but the bike weighs 550 dry, so this is gonna be at least a good half of that. So at least 200 pounds, I would say. Maybe 250, but I'll get on the bench so we can tear it apart, clear the bench, and rip this old gearbox out and see what we're dealing with.
I guess you're back. Are you gonna tell me where you went? All the messages I sent with no reply. It's like that. You're just gonna walk into my room. I hate how you assume I'll take the pleasure and the pain, the sorrows in your brain, 'cause I know you're on the run. I'll take the pleasure and the pain, your secrets to my grave.
Alright, so there she is on the bench, ready for teardown. So we'll pull the gearbox cover off here. We gotta flip it, pull the oil pan, and we'll have to split the case right there. So let's get after it. Alright, quick little update. Stripped down most of the extremities and the water pump and oil passages, just so we can split this case, pull the oil cover so we can get to the mains cap bolts to pull the bottom half of the case off. In doing so, we found a couple broken gear teeth. 1, 2, and some sort of lock washer ring, most likely on the gearbox side. So that's not supposed to be like that. So we'll have to finish ripping this apart, stand this thing back up more towards its top side so I can access everything and finish splitting this case and really get a look at this.
'Cause you are the only one.
So while pulling this apart, splitting the case, I had one bolt left right here, 10 mil. But that was not accessible because I had left the clutch basket in, not realizing that it comes out first. So we got that out, got the oil pump out. The oil pump itself is not ideal. On the inside, there's some pits, as if there's gone metal through it, which I do not like. So oil pump replacement is definitely recommended. But I found the failure. This plate for this input shaft is a retainer for the bearing. This is how I found it. That's not right. So that allowed too much bearing play and movement. And if we rotate right around, top one is your input shaft, and boom, 2 broken teeth. So that's the noise we were hearing earlier. 2 broken teeth off of the output shaft. So this thing is done for. New transmission's got all that on it, that's fine. But that's the cause. Our bearing plate for the input shaft was loose. I can spin these by finger. Now these motors do have a lot of vibration. Spin, I believe 11,500 is what the red line is on this. So despite the balance shafts, it doesn't matter, it still vibrates. Upon reassembly, we will Loctite these in. No more failures. Helps if you actually turn them on to record. Anyways, here we are, update. The case is finally split, pulled it apart. Did some inspection on the gear set. Obviously that our output shaft is blown, but discovered where this clip retainer went. So this was on the end of the input shaft back here, lined up just like so. And the reason it's in the oil pan was because the bearing play, you see this spine is intact, sheared off, sheared off, sheared off, sheared off. So the excessive end play from the bearing retainer not retaining the bearing, funny enough, allowed too much movement, destroying that clip retainer, and as well as the dogs, because as you'll see here, this one is terribly rounded over. It should not be that far rounded. That is horrendous. With this movement back and forth, it allows the dogs to stay engaged too much when trying to disengage, and not engaging enough when trying to engage. So you get this excessive wear on the edge because it's not fully engaging as it should. So doesn't matter, we've got our new dogs in the box. We know the problem, why it happened, how it happened. Now the fix is to prevent it from happening ever again. So Loctite at this time, she should be good to go. It doesn't appear that anyone's ever been in this box before, but you never know. I don't know any information on it, but we're going to put it back together correctly and get it rocking and rolling. So the only other parts we're going to need to reassemble is I want to try and get an oil pump, talk to the customer, see what he thinks. Highly recommended, because the wear on that it's too much for what I'd like to see. This would better show it. All those pits inside that oil drive gear, and every single one catches on your fingernail. That's not good. Could be lacking oil pressure, and you don't want to be lacking oil pressure when you're full throttle at 12 grand shifting the next gear. So and one more part was the shift selector indicator, which is up here on the shelf. This, when I removed it, is actually cracked, broken right there. So I don't know if that has anything to do with the issue that we're having currently. Not likely, but it's broken. It should be replaced while we're here. Why should we not replace it? So that is current update. Everything's going to get a full clean wash through the parts washer, except for the block housing, because I can't disassemble the head and everything yet. So we're just doing this case by hand, this case with the parts washer, and rip these gear sets out and get it ready to put the new ones in. Get ready for reassembly. Alright, so here we go. So the block is cleaned up. All the gasket mating surfaces are cleaned up, ready to go. Dried, no oil on it, no dirt, debris, no silicone, no sealant, nothing. Good to go. The bottom half of the block, the case, same thing. Cleaned up inside and out. Much easier to throw in the parts washer. As you saw, we washed it out, cleaned it up, dried it out, blew it out. Came out really nice. Nice and clean surface. The mains bearings look beautiful. So this is ready to go back in. So what we will do next is pull the transmission out of the box, set up the bottom half, actually the upper half, the input shaft in the transmission here, drop the case on it, seal it, torque it all down, the mains caps and the exterior bolts, get everything tightened down. Then we can continue with the output shaft of the transmission, oil pump, water pump, all the good stuff.
I've touched your soul, and then I knew you'd run away with me. I'm in your thoughts, and all you want is to lay down with me. I will be the one, I will be the one, I will be the one. I will be the one, I will be the one, I will be the one for you.
Okay, now that we got the bottom half of the case assembled and cleaned, we've got our input shaft in, shift forks, our shift barrel. All of that is done, assembled, torqued down, Loctited of course, so we don't have this bearing plate come off ever again. Good to go. This is good to go, ready to rock and roll. So we're going to set it up with our gasket sealant on the mating surfaces. And we got about 20 minutes to do all of these bolts up to spec. So put you on the time lapse, set you on the overhead view, and let's hop to it. Alright, so there we go. Bottom case is on. So all torqued down, double checked the torque specs through the alternator cover on, as well as the timing cover over here, and the balance shaft is bolted down. So that's it for that. So we're going to get ready and button up the clutch, get that basket in, clutch discs, everything installed. And then we'll finalize it with the oil pan. Get that ready to rock and roll.